Yeah, and so Gino and Dan, like, they just work together perfectly. They just know each other's moves. They know what to do. They know how to react. So yeah, I mean, 1v1, I put my money on Frank or Ed, but because it's 2v2 and Dan and Gino work as a team so well, I'm not sure. I really am not sure to win this. You think Ed and Piners? Or is it going to be the Australian bros? Australia, New Zealander, right? Because Dan is from New Zealand, I believe.
Oh, I'm not
Gino's
sure.
from Australia.
I thought Gino's from Australia, yeah.
Yeah, Gino's from Australia, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure, well, he calls himself West New Zealand, right? Well,
Oh.
so chances are he's from New Zealand. All right, lag test number 2. Does it look better? Let's see. So looking smooth, looking smooth. Looking smooth, dogs.
I think it's a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, this looks more like 50, 58, 59 FPS here. Let's see what the players think. It's sometimes hard to tell as a spectator.
This is the future.
Because you don't actually feel what you're doing. Are they playing? Like, what's going on? If they are playing, just in case. So it's Dan versus Frank at the top here, right? And then it is corners, which means that... Sorry, my bad. Ed, right? So we got Ed in the top right, Frank in the bottom left. It looks like they're continuing to play, so I think they're playing, Doofus. I think they're playing. So
like
yeah,
it,
let's...
Yeah. So this
Yeah,
game
so-
1.
Yeah, so green and teal, right? Green and teal, those are a team. That's in the top right corner. We got Ed. Bottom left corner, we got Frank. In the top left, we have Dan, West New Zealander, versus Gino, with Gino in the bottom right. So it is corners, and looks like Ed is starting with the early pressure. But you know, because it's corners, everyone goes 0, and it looks like they're both gonna... They're on the same round of rhinos. We're gonna see if Ed can get anything done here at the top versus Dan. In the meantime, at the bottom, we're seeing some heavy rocketeers coming out of Frank, but if you look at the right-hand side, Gino is in Ed's base.
Going after the miners.
Yeah, going after the miners, and
Getting
I think
one.
one of those miners, yeah, that miner's droned, isn't
It's
it?
droned as well, yeah.
So this is what I was talking about.
And the second miner also, but...
Damn, so this is what I was talking about, right? I told you they work so well as a team. Right, so he uses the Grizzlies to let the drone get in. In the meantime, at the bottom left, Frank loses his AFC. Dan is going in here heavy with the pressure. And so far, the Dan Gino team are looking strong. They're looking dominant. Ed is down to 1 miner. His eco is about to be garbage. Can they pull out of this? Ed thought it was left versus right. He didn't realize it was corners. He didn't realize... Okay, so you'll notice that Gino drops a paradrop to defend Dan at the top here. And this is what I'm talking about, man. The teamwork. Right? The teamwork is beautiful. So Frank has a nice big army down here, along with 2 of Ed's tanks. Not sure what they're doing there. He's going to try and go in here and do something to Gino, because otherwise it's not looking good for Ed and Frank.
And Dan going in on Ed as well. Oh, no, pulls back.
Yeah, so... Okay, so Frank is going in. Now that paradrop is being walked by Gino to go work together with Dan's tanks here. There is fodder there from Conscripts, but at the same time, Ed is taking out some of Gino's miners in the right-hand side. So a lot going on here. At the top, engagement has calmed down a little bit. Frank is going in hard here, trying to get something done. And Gino keeps losing those miners to 2 of Ed's tanks. Ed is doing some serious damage with those 2 tanks in the right-hand side. In this engagement, Frank looks like he's doing okay. I don't know if he comes out on top here. And Gino loses another miner. Gino's down to 2 miners. Dan trying to do something in the top, trying to go in, trying to get some damage done, but not really being able to do anything. Ed is holding up top while taking out all of Gino's miners. Gino is down to 1 miner. He's about to lose it. And, oh, can he save it? Can he save it? Ed rushes up. Oh, nice micro there. So Gino saves the miner at the bottom right here. And, you know, Frank now with a supportive power drop at the top, but Dan has a Desolator. So that power drop is going to be no use to anyone. On the other hand, Frank coming in here, attacking Dan's base at the top. Dan doesn't have a War Factory, sold his MCV. He can't produce any more tanks.
And
Ed, you know, Ed is
barracks either.
No, so no barracks, no production at all. He knows he has to go in. He knows he has to try and do something, but Ed has too many units here. He's gonna try and hold. Gino comes in with the Rocketeers. Yeah, the huge Desolator deploy there. I agree with you. But Gino gets Ed's War Factory, so it looks like the Soviet players are going to be out of this game. But Frank coming in with a big army of Grizzlies at the bottom here. Looks like Ed is going to win that engagement at the top. He gets an Elite Rhino. So Dan is out of the game. Frank wiped him out with the Rocketeers, destroyed all of his buildings. Frank is in Gino's base as well. And, oh, but Gino destroys Ed's last building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Frank is winning.
Wow, so Frank at the bottom here. Looks like he's going to win, but there is a power drop in his base, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But I don't see what Gino can do here. GG, he calls it.
Frank has much more Rocketeers than Gino as well, so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, wow. What a crazy game. This is 2v2. This is real 2v2, Doofus. This is how it's done.
Too much happening, bro. Too much happening.
Way too much happening. Wow, so the score goes 1-up for Frank and Ed. So it's 1-0. And yeah, what a great game. You could see there, man, right? Allied Soviet versus Allied Soviet. He supports him with his power drop. He attacks his opponent with his Rocketeers. A lot going on, and Ed taking out so many of Gino's miners, I think, was the key point there.
That's true. That's true. And Ed held on as well. He was harassed at the beginning of the game, but he held on.
Yeah, he lost a miner early, and yet he still held on. Yeah, for RA2, definitely put the original jungle, not this, not the LE version. There we go. So Jungle of Vietnam, another tough map. Interesting what we're going to get here. Could be top versus top, could be bottom versus, top versus bottom. Could be corners, could be left versus right. Either way, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. All right, here we go.
Game number 2 in this 2v2 series, best of the 9, RA2.
Game number 2. So, first thing we're going to look at is spawns real quick, and this is what the players are doing as well. We got Frank in the top right here, and we've got Ed in the bottom right? So that's going to be left versus right. Now, again, it's Allied versus Allied, Soviet versus Soviet, but it's not corners this time. It is left versus right. So we've got Gino in the top left, Dan in the bottom left. What do you think, Doofus?
It's going to be interesting. Frank is up against Gino's USA. I haven't seen Gino play that much though, but I know Frank is really he plays Allied like 90% of the time, and I've seen him play as well. His Allied is just scary, so this might be...
especially in RA2, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is his game, his jam.
And it's not unbalanced either. It's a Soviet versus Soviet, and it's Allied versus Allied, so I really hope to see 1v1s here if I'm Frank.
Well, I mean, these guys, not a chance, bro. They are going to be helping their allies out to try and give their allies the edge. I don't think you're going to see two separate 1v1s here. These guys play hardcore 2v2s. We're going to see the difference here. So first of all, we're going to see Frank, right, went for an extra miner first. And the second War Factory instead of an AFC. Gino went 0. Right, so Gino with 2 Grizzlies, Rocketeers heading across the map towards Ed's base. Now we're gonna see what's happening here, and of course, because they're on voice chat, they are working together. Gino and Dan are already, both of them, going 0 and rushing in. Now Frank is hurrying to try and catch up here with a tank count. Why did Ed move his MCV now? I'm confused.
I don't know either. I didn't see anything there.
Alright, moved his MCV for some reason. Frank going in on the center is going to try and force Gino to back off here, but Dan coming in with a scary force.
So I'm tanking Ed pretty bad. He's gonna get a miner. Gets it.
Yeah, well, what can Ed do here, really?
Frank
comes in to help, which is very nice, but Gino's going to head to the top right. Frank has more than enough to stop what Gino has. So Frank saves his ally. A very nice team play there out of Frank and Ed. And so Gino, so you'll notice something interesting. Gino went 0, right? But Gino now is the one on 5 miners. Frank is the one on 4. So he must have gone a few miners out of his War Factory.
And Ed has an AFK miner, bottom right.
Oh, that's where? I don't see that.
Oh, no, he just put it back to work.
Nice.
It was AFK for...
Yeah, and look at this paradrop from Gino. Gino doesn't use this paradrop for himself. He puts it next to Dan's base. Dan heading across the map towards Frank's base. Frank trying to push in here and do something. He does have a paradrop deployed in a very annoying position for Gino. And Dan is pushing in here, but it looks like Ed is going to be able to push him off pretty easily. And yeah, Frank can't really push in at the middle level there. He is going to stick around though, and we're going to see Ed try to push in here, but Dan is in the area, in the vicinity, in a perfect position to block him. And again, left team is miner team. They do have more miners than the right team, both in the top and the bottom. And a paradrop in Frank's base. We're going to see how he responds to that. And Gino is pushing in hard, targeting the War Factory. That War Factory is about to go down. The War Factory goes down. So Frank no War Factory, but it looks like he's not doing that great in the tank engagement. Losing a War Factory at this stage of the game is huge. It is huge. Popa, how are you doing, mate? So Ed doing okay, but I don't know for how long he's going to be doing okay, because Dan is on 6 miners while Ed is only on 4. Frank is on 6 miners as well versus Gino 6 miners. Nice Rocketeers from Frank. They're positioning them to damage Dan's army. Still no War Factory out of Frank. Frank, bro, my man, you need a War Factory. Oh, and that flak track, whoa, went right underneath the Rocketeers and got sniped. But a paradrop from Gino taking out Ed's power there.
Again, paradrop from Gino on top of Frank's base.
Yeah. Oh, is he going to lose another War Factory to paradrop? Please don't lose another War Factory to paradrop.
Paradrop is AFK.
Paradrop is AFK, and that pillbox doing work. In the meantime, in the center, we're having a huge engagement here, trying to understand what is going on here. Gino rushes up to defend his base from Frank, and Gino's army is looking much larger than Frank's army at the moment. That was a long time without a War Factory, and that cost him. Dan going in here on Ed, and the Rocketeers coming to help. So that refinery is going down. He sells his War Factory? Why the hell did Ed just sell his War Factory? Okay, Ed sold his War Factory. Not sure what that was about. And it looks like they're going to swap opponents here as Dan pushes in on Frank and Gino pushes in on... Whoa, and no power. So Frank puts down a Patriot to help support Ed at the bottom, Ed pushing Gino away, but Dan in Frank's base doing some serious damage. That last refinery of Ed is about to go down. Ed loses his refinery. Does have enough money to make another refinery, I think. We'll see if he goes for it. And now Ed is in Dan's base while Frank is harassing with these Rocketeers. IFVs come in to support, and it looks like Ed is going to win the battle in Dan's base. More tanks are coming, though. He might have to back off as soon as those reinforcements arrive. And yeah, he does back off. In the meantime, well, something happened in Gino's base. He doesn't have a war factory. Not sure exactly what. Looks like Dan is going to push Ed all the way back to his own base. Not sure what he's going to do there. Frank with a huge Rocketeer count, sending them down to try and save Ed. Keep him in the game. He knows that if Ed is dead, he's dead. And Gino coming in at the top here with the Rocketeers and with the Grizzlies. Frank's Rocketeers doing some serious damage, but he needs to get them out of there because of the flak. In the meantime, Gino's Rocketeers melting Frank's Grizzlies at the top right. Wow, what does Frank do here? He's under siege. Gino with a higher tank count, Frank with a higher Rocketeer count. What is happening? In the meantime, wow, look at Dan's army, Doofus. Dan has a huge army coming and splitting it off. Half of it going to Frank's base.
Yep.
Yeah, half of it staying to defend, and there is no way that I can see that Frank and Ed win this. Gino does back off here, but in the meantime, Dan has just run through Frank's base. Frank loses his war factory, and Dan is winning at the bottom as well. So Dan really doing some heavy lifting here. And, you know, as soon as Frank tries to go down, Gino comes in and stops him from doing so, although Frank's Rocketeers have been doing a lot of work this game. Frank's Rocketeers going in here, the flags and the IFEs coming in to target them, and Frank just quits. And Ed quits.
So we're all tied up.
Wow, what an insane game was that, Doofus.
I really believe Ed sold his war factory by accident.
Yeah, there was a interesting sell there that I have no idea why he sold at that point. It's like islands.
Ooh. Might be, Josh, might be.
No, so he just said, and accidentally sold war when I tried to sell ref. We saw the ref and the war getting sold at the same time. He must have accidentally double clicked or something.
I thought I checked the money count also. He had 5k, so I don't believe he was broke at the time. Yeah. Lake Island, ladies and gentlemen.
Lake Island, so we know Frank loves that map. It looks like Dan doesn't really. He said the map is shit. Pretty insulting to me considering I'm the map maker, but I'll let it pass because it's Dan. But you know what we do have, Doofus? We have the greatest map maker of all time in the chat right now, and that is Josh.
Josh, right there.
So I'm gonna let Josh decide what he thinks of this map. If Josh says it's a good map, it's a good map. That's the rule. So what have we got? We got Gino on the right side, and we've got Dan on the left side, right? So it's cross. It's not corners. It's crossovers, right? How do you say it?
Let's say
I have no idea. Opposites.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Opposite starting positions here.
So right and left versus top and bottom.
Exactly. Oh, Josh says it's the best map in the game.
There you go, Snark.
All right. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Just retired. Snark, just retired. You've made the best map.
There we go. Yeah, all right. So let's have a look here. So we got Ed at the top here, and we got Frank at the bottom. Now, You know, opposite starting positions definitely is going to represent some interesting stuff. Like, what do you do if both opponents go to the other player? Do you try and take one of them out? Do you try to save him? They're so far away to help each other. We're going to see what these bad boys can do.
See,
Oh, and Ed
Ed,
has a miner droned.
yep.
I didn't notice that. So Ed has a miner droned, and looks like Dan is going to bring the pressure to Frank down here. Ed does save the miner, which is nice. And it looks like Gino's going with an eco build. So he's got 3 miners already. While everyone else is on 2. Well, Frank just got his 3rd out now. And all right, so Dan is going to head up towards Ed here. What does Ed do in response? Frank does send his Rocketeer to support, which is nice chip damage. 1 Rocketeer not going to make a huge difference, but it's nice chip damage. And all right, looks like Ed is going to counter Dan here at the bottom left. What does Gino do? Gino's chilling in the meantime, and Frank is also sort of chilling. He's threatening, right? He's coming close to Gino's base, and he's like, if you leave your base, I'm taking it out. So let's see. Ed gets his 3rd miner out only now, way later than everyone else. Frank already on 4 miners, moved his MCV to the 2nd level. Gino with a really nice economy build here with 5 miners. Frank trying to push in here. Gino just forcing him to back off. And yeah, that drone of Ed's goes down. So basically what we're seeing is in the top left, Dan is pressing Ed, forcing him to stay in his base. And
Gino's going in. Yep.
What do you think? Can he get something done here? It looks like Frank has more than enough to defend against this.
Frank is
They're getting
attacking
mixed up
him.
with each other. Frank has way more tanks. It is plastics versus rhinos though, but it looks like Gino has to back off here. In the meantime, they're having a stirring competition in the top left, Ed and Dan. So nothing much going on there. We're going to see if Frank can maybe sneak some Rocketeers to help his ally out at some point. We're going to see if he can afford to do that. Desolators are coming out for Gino and heading across the map. We're going to see how Frank responds to these Desolators. Nice power drop from Frank between Dan's base and his expansion. We're going to see if that does anything. These Desolators pushing in. The top left, not much is happening. Looks like Ed is coming out on top there, actually. And the Desolator comes in, deploys all of Frank's Grizzlies. Were in the Desolation field. They are all weaker. They're already weak as plastics. That is not something an allied player wants happening to him, but very nice tank control with that pillbox placement. And it looks like top left, they're still having a bit of a staring competition there. Dan has expanded to those gems though. Rocketeer comes in to take it out, and Frank turns left all of a sudden into Dan's base, gonna snipe the MCV, but the Gino is gonna repay the favor. So the MCV goes down, Frank rushing back to his base to try and save his MCV. He's not gonna save it on time. The MCV goes down, and Gino backs up. So Frank got Dan's MCV, and then Gino got Frank's MCV. And the top left, they're having a big engagement there, but the tank control looks terrible for Dan. Looks like Ed is coming out on top. Gino and Frank still facing off at the bottom right here. We will remember Frank has no MCV. Ed threatening Dan's base, but and the Rocketeers taking out that all-important refinery on the gems. So Dan might want those gems, but he's gonna have to long distance mine them. But on the right here, Gino coming in with a huge force. It looks like he's gonna win this tank battle.
He's gonna win it.
Wins the tank battle big time. The Rocketeers coming in, but the flak track is there. Gino's going to go in. He's going to take out the AFC. And Dan pushing Ed all of a sudden, looking in a much stronger position. And it looks like Gino has won the bottom more or less. Frank's about to lose his barracks as well. On top of everything else, huge engagement in the top here. Ed loses his MCV, but does he win the tank battle? That is the question. It looks like he will. So Ed comes out on top. And Frank pushing Gino back. He did manage to snipe his flak track. Another one comes out. But Ed needs to go in and do something now or it's over, because Gino is looking scary at the bottom right here.
Ed is also going in on Gino.
Yeah, Ed heading right, but the Desolator is there, and Dan saying, "Are you sure you want to go there? Because if you go there, I'm destroying your base." So Dan pushing in here on Ed's base. Doesn't get the power plant, has to back off before he does. And Frank's army looking weaker and smaller by the minute compared to Gino's army. Ed again trying to head right and do something, splits up his tanks, very nice. Forcing Frank did force Dan to make a few flak tracks, which is also very nice. And Gino stopping Ed from advancing at the top here. Frank should have tried to push there and do something. Not sure. Dan pushing here. Ed
And
needs
get a
to
miner.
defend this.
No, goes for the power. Gets the power.
Oh, gets the power and forces the cell in the refinery. Rocketeers come in to support and help deal with some of this fodder. Ed looking strong here. I think he just needs to go in, commit, finish off Dan, and then turn around and try to deal with the Gino problem.
I think that's the best way to go as well.
Gino pushing in here with Desolators, Rhinos, looking scary. Ed is pushing in finally. Let's see if he can micro click those tanks. Click, 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 click. And oh, but the fodder and the tank control, not the best, but he does get an elite. Yeah. Gino pushing in here. Frank bringing in his miners as fodder, but that Deso deploy.
Desolator.
That is huge, Doofus. The Desolator does go down, but how many of Frank's tanks have a tiny bit of damage on them? They're already weak as plastics. And Ed not managing to finish off Dan. Gino's army looking scary. 2 war factories. He's getting those gems now. We know that's going to boost his production. Frank, on the other hand, all of his miners are AFK. He's not making any money at all. I don't know how he's still producing shit. Wow.
Ed splitting again, bringing his elite to Gino's base.
Wow, all right, very nice. So assuming his elite drones come out for Dan to try and get something done here. Gino needs to go up to defend, but Frank goes in on his miners in the bottom. He gets one. Does he get another one? No, he needs to back off. And Dan pushing in on Ed here. Ed does not have much left here. He brings back his tanks from Gino's base. If Dan manages
as well.
Yeah, Dan has an elite as well. Gino pushing in here on Frank. Can Frank defend this? I don't think so. What is this tank control? The Rocketeers are about to go down. Gino just turns around and faces these Grizzlies. Plastic versus Rhinos, and Frank comes out on top.
Frank is winning.
Frank wins big time, but here come the drones. Frank needs to back off. In the meantime, Ed pushing in on Dan. Dan has only 2 tanks left. One of them is elite, though. So keep that in mind. Frank losing a lot of tanks to these drones. And Gino on 3 war factories has mined out all of that gem patch.
Oh. Ed gets the elite from Dan.
Nice. So Ed kills Dan's elite.
And Ed will finally take Dan down. Oh, yep.
Targeting the war factory. No more tanks for Dan. But, whoa, Ed lost way too many tanks for that. He should not have lost so many tanks for taking down the war factory. Frank's still holding on by his fingernails versus Gino, destroying his barracks before he can get any infantry out. And nice. So Ed wins top left. Frank, in the meantime, actually looking like he's winning right side. Is that possible?
He is.
Frank looking like he's winning right side as well. So it looks like the Frank Ed team are going to get another win here. Let's see. Gino sent his flak tracks to attack Ed's war factory. That's interesting. Ed is just cleaning up Dan's last buildings here. And the big engagement bottom right. Frank looks like he comes out on top again.
Yep. And that's it for Gino and Dan.
Yeah, so Dan is out of the game. Frank looks like he could win Gino on his own, but with Ed coming in here with all of his miners, it should be over very, very soon. Yeah, Josh, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Some of the TC here was goofy, shall we say. All right, so they quit.
Ooh,
It
what
is
a match! What a match!
Crazy game. Yeah, so the score is 2-1 for Frank and Ed. And yeah. So the score's 2-1. Frank and Ed. And Gino says desert. Frank has the worst or best, depending on how you look on it, sarcastic comments. He's a funny guy. Yeah, Gino with the same sarcasm. Frank is like, I'm just gonna read this out for chat. If you don't like Frank says, if you don't like Lake Islands, what do you like? Unicorns? Gino's like, wait, what? You don't like units? Unicorns? And it's like, who doesn't like unicorns? Exactly. Anyway, yeah, funny guys. So yeah, here we go, desert island here.
Game number 4 on the way.
If it's left versus right, it should be pretty standard, but will be interesting to see if we get corners, top versus bottom. Let's see what happens here.
Player defeated.
We have Gino bottom right and Ed top right. We have, let's see, Frank.
Yeah, so Ed versus Gino. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be corners again. We have Frank bottom left and
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Dan
Yeah.
top left.
Yup. So we do have another corners game here.
Thanks,
Ed is gonna have to
Gino.
face off versus
Much
Gino,
appreciated, bro.
Soviet versus Soviet, and Frank is gonna have to face off versus Dan here on the left. Should be interesting. Yeah,
Alright.
Jail.
However you see it, is gonna be an Allied versus Sov, right?
Sorry?
Oh, there are 3 Soviets this time.
Yeah. So
Oh.
last game Gino already swapped into Soviet, and he stayed Soviet for this game as well.
Oh, you're right. I haven't even noticed it last game.
Mm-hmm. So we are seeing a bit of drone play here, killing some dogs, whatever. We'll see if anybody's minor gets droned, because that's gonna be huge in corners game. Everybody goes 0, of course, except Frank. Frank goes a minor. Ed manages to defend versus the drone.
Ed has a minor drone.
Yeah. So if Frank goes a minor. Dan is coming in. You start so close to your opponent that he already has 2 rhinos almost in his base. Scare the one Rocketeer stopping an army. Okay. But Dan is now turning around and heading towards Ed. Ed did get one of his minus drones, which is unfortunate. Gino coming in with 3 tanks. Dan turning back. Frank threatening his base. He turns back. So that's what you want to do, right? As Frank, you see that your opponent is going your ally. You say, "Whoa, are you sure you want to go there? Because if you go there, I will destroy your base."
Yep.
And Gino pushing in here. Who has the better tank control? That fodder doing a lot of work. Ed loses the first tank here, and tank control.
Nice by Ed.
Nice tank control
but
from
he
Ed.
has-
Terrible tank control from Gino. He goes right up the cliff and he destroys Gino. Wow. Frank, in the meantime, pressuring hard here. Don't know how all of a sudden he has way more tanks than. Yeah, so Gino himself saying, "Damn, that was some bad TC." He knows it. Gotta click those tanks, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta click those tanks.
John, thanks for the bits, bro.
Ooh. Yeah, Josh saying, last game as well, Gino's TC was a little bit dubious. It's a nice word, dubious.
Doofius.
Doofius. Yeah. So on the right here, Ed on 4-, Gino on 4-, more or less even, but Ed won that first fight, which was very nice for him. On the left here, we see Frank keeping the pressure hot, and with 5 miners, managing to take those gems from the center. You notice that sneaky little miner that Frank has there? Gobbling up all those yummy gems.
He's moving his MCV to the mid as well.
Oh, Frank.
Or is he
with-
going for the... No, he's going for the ore.
Okay, that's a little less risky. I would have loved to see him move to the middle, if I'm being honest. Frank's GI army is growing, but this Desolator comes in. Oh, Frank loses a lot of infantry there, which is unfortunate. Battle on the right side here. Rocketeers from Frank on the right side of the map. Not sure what they're doing here. Gino was forced to make a flag track, which is not good for him because that will give Ed the edge. Desolator from Gino comes out. Ed needs to back off here. On the left, Dan trying to make a push here. That Desolator doing a lot of work. Rocketeers come in, but the flag track is already there. The Desolator does go down. He clicks the flag track, and with the Harrier, he does
Ooh,
get
got
it.
it.
That goes down. These Rocketeers, Dan does back off. 3 Rocketeers and Frank's army scare him. And on the right side, it looks like Gino sold his MCV. Am I wrong about that?
I think you sold it, yeah. Because Ed didn't go that far into his
Yeah.
base.
Yeah, so it looks like Gino sold his MCV. He was at a disadvantage. He lost the first tank fight. Frank kept pushing in with the Rocketeers. He had to make some flak. So he's trying to make a move here. On the left, Frank seems to be winning. Dan, he is just in a dominating position.
Time Gino does get a miner from Ed.
That's nice. He does get a miner kill. So Gino now with the miner advantage. But one of Gino's miners is drones. I'm not sure how that happened at this stage of the game.
And no MCV means no service
No.
depot.
Indeed, and Frank pushing in here. That Desolator though, whoa. Bye-bye Frank's infantry. But Frank looking very, very strong this game. Gino pushing in here. A Desolator comes out for Ed. Ed is going to try and defend with the Desolator here. And Gino backs off a little bit. Gino heading across the map. Are you sure you want to do that? All right, so Gino's heading straight for Frank's base. And Ed is going to go in here. All right, does he head back? What is he doing? Not sure what Gino's doing. Yeah, Gino is going for Frank's base. He is definitely going for it. He's making drones and Desolator, spamming them. Down goes Gino's War Factory, which is very nice, but Ed is taking a lot of damage to destroy Gino's base. He is losing so many rhinos to those Desolators and drones. He does take out the barracks, but Frank is getting mopped up on the left here, forced to go in on Dan and try and finish this up. So Gino is destroyed.
Yep.
Very nice. And Frank wins the engagement on the left side here. So he comes out on top there. Ed wins on the right side. And it's another point for Team Frank and Ed.
Wow. Great team plays there.
Wow. Wow. That was that was insane.
Loved how Gino went in on Frank's base and Ed's just like, alright, I'll take your last 3 buildings then. No problem, you know?
Yeah. So it's
So it's 3-1 at the moment in this 2v2 best of the 9 RA2 series. And I believe, I'm not sure, Frank and Ed won their last 3 games in a row. Or did they win the first one on Hack? I'm not sure.
so they won the first one on Hick, and then Jungle Game they lost.
Oh, the jungle they lost. Yeah, that's true.
And then, all right, so we did say ahead of time they can choose one map twice, and they're choosing the map they lost on. Will they be able to get another win on that map, or will Frank and Ed get redemption on this map and deny them a second win on the same map? But I like it, right? You're down points. You know that there's one map that you managed to win on. Is it smart to go back to it because now they know how to counter you, or is it smart to, like, you know, or maybe it is smart because you won on it, you know you're good on it, you know you're both good on it. Try it again, try and get another win there.
Yeah, I think never change a winning team, right? So if you won on this map, try it again. John with the
I
bits
guess
again,
so. We're
bro.
gonna see the
Thanks, bro.
positions this time. Frank in the top right corner again, like last time. Only this time he gets Gino in the bottom right instead of the top left. So it's gonna be Frank versus Gino on the right here. And on the left side, we've got Ed in the top left and Dan at the bottom left. So it's top versus bottom. Frank versus Gino on the right. Ed versus Dan on the left.
So let's see. I have to get my bearings straight. So we have Dan, bottom left. And we have Frank. Is that Frank? No, that's... Who's blue?
Blue is Gino in the bottom right.
Oh, blue is Gino. Okay, let's see. So it is top versus bottom, right?
Yeah. Top versus bottom. Frank and Ed in the top versus Dan and Gino in the bottom. Hey, John, I'll catch you later, man. See ya. I love John so much. He's one of the best.
Oh shit, he's leaving already? John, thanks for the bits, bro. Take care, bro. We'll talk to each other soon.
An awesome dude. All right. Anyway, back to the game. We're professional casters, right?
Right.
All right. So a bit of drone play between a bit of drone play between these two players, and Ed deciding to go miner while the drone gets in for Dan.
Yeah.
So Ed deciding to go miner, so he's going to be a miner ahead of Dan, but Dan is coming in with these rhinos. Ed needs to be careful. On the right side, we got some Rocketeers coming out for Gino, heading across the map towards Ed. So they're going to try to pressure Ed very early. Frank only now makes AFC, opting to go for the second refinery before AFC and sending an IFV over to try and help Ed.
With the anti-air. Ed is out-tanked.
Ed is out tanked, but not like
by
only by one tank.
Yeah.
And he's up a miner, right? So it's definitely worth it in the long run. And now the Rocketeer's heading towards Frank's base, targeting that one Rocketeer chasing it around. But beautiful control of Frank. He does get a Rocketeer with that IFV. Dan pushing here on the left. Can he get something done? These Rocketeers coming in. Ooh, Frank does send in the IFV. So Gino's going to keep trying to force Frank, to be in two places at once.
Ooh, nice
with these
tank control by
Rocketeers.
Ed.
Very nice tank control. Gets a free Rhino there. Only getting a small hit on his Rhino. He should repair that if he already has a service depot. Frank putting a barracks on Ed's MCV. Not sure why he did that, but I guess... What do we know, right?
They're the 2v2 professionals.
Yeah, so I guess he's worried about a base trade or something, so he wants to have one building at his ally's MCV.
Might be.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So on the right side here, we got Gino on 7 miners. Frank only on 5. Gino looking strong on the right side here of the Rocketeers. Heading across the map, Gino sending his IFVs to try and counter these Rocketeers. And Rocketeers going straight for the War Factory? Interesting.
He's gonna get it. Yep.
Wow, so all of a sudden we are in the middle of the game. No War Factory, but Gino coming in here with huge amounts of Rocketeers and the tank control, destroying Frank's army here. Wow. Alright, so if Frank can hold this, that Rocketeer push was worthwhile because Ed is on 2 War Factories and he's going to be able to beat Dan soon. But can Frank hold with these GIs coming in?
A lot of GIs.
Doing a lot of damage, and the 4 IFVs to deal with all of those Rocketeers. Gino looking in a dominant position on the right side here. Not sure what Frank can do. On the other hand, Ed is starting to out-tank Dan big time. Dan going for a radar to use Desolators to try and crowd control there. Frank is alive, but he's not in a good position. He lost his forward refinery, and he's down. Well, I guess not that bad. Gino sending his Rocketeers to the left side of the map to help. Ed forced to make a flag track. Frank trying to push him back with his own Rocketeers. I don't know, Doofus. I don't know. It's looking...
I think Ed is winning on the top left.
Well, Ed is winning on top left, but I feel like Team Gino and Dan are looking good again on this map. If I'm being honest, Frank's Rocketeers are on the left side of the map. Ed loses his Desolators to some drones. And now Gino's Rocketeers is going to the left side of the map as Frank's come to the right side of the map, which is interesting. Gonna snipe this barracks, but there are flag tracks there, so he needs to be careful. Does back off. And, now Frank pushing with 1,000,000,000 GIs. Wow, I don't know how Frank turned this around, but it all of a sudden looks like Frank is in a pretty good position here. Let's see what he can get done. He did lose a few tanks there to those Rocketeers. And Dan is catching up, right? He's also on 2 war factories now. His army doesn't look that much smaller than Ed's. It is smaller, but not by a huge amount. Huge fight on the right. Huge fight on the right, and the drones on the left. We're going to have to try and keep track on everything going on here, but it looks like Gino is winning the fight on the right, if I'm being honest. Gino again looking in a dominant position, and now Frank forced to back off to his base. On the left side, the barracks goes down, and Ed is pushing here. No, he retreats. Ooh. So Gino with a huge amount of Rocketeers, Frank with hardly any... And Frank with a more fodder, but with so little tanks, it looks like Gino is going to win that fight pretty easily. IFEs come in, Rocketeers come in, and Gino is going to win right side. Ed trying to push to the right side to force Gino to go back to his base or do something. Dan right on his tail here. Doesn't look like Ed is coming out on top on this fight. And, oh, yeah, I guess he does win that fight, but Frank is out of the game. No production buildings. He's got a few tanks and an IFE, and that is all he has. So Ed does win that engagement, but Gino is already back to defend with Rocketeers. No anti-air for Ed. And I don't think that Frank Ed can win this one. So Frank does have 2 sneaky barracks on the left side of the map here, so he can still mine ore and make infantry units to support Ed. So that's barracks that he built coming into play after all, but it might get sniped by Gino's paradrop at the top left. Ed trying to push into Gino here. Frank does sell one of his barracks. Can't lose the second barracks. Frank, you cannot let Gino take that second barracks. What are you doing? Frank is about to lose the second barracks, and that is it. Frank has no more production buildings. Gino sending his Rocketeers to the top right to completely get Frank out of the game. Ed running back to deal with his paradrop. And again, Dan with an army that looks quite equal. Frank is out of the game. These Rocketeers heading over to Ed's base. And with Gino and Dan's army combined, there is no way Ed can win this tank fight. It is over.
Yep.
So Gino, Dan take home another win on jungle. I guess that's why they chose this map. And it was a good choice.
Yep, they bring it back. This was a completely different game though, but they managed to win twice on the same map.
Yeah, this was a completely different game. But like you said, they win this. They win this. Gino's Rocketeers gonna take out Ed's MCV. Those 2 elite Rocketeers doing some serious damage. Dan pushing in here, and Ed quits. All right, man. GG. So the score is 3-2 for Frank Ed. So Frank Ed are still ahead. But wow. Insane games, guys. Just crazy games. So let's see what map pick. Bedtime for me. Alright, so Zed is out, and it's Frank Ed's turn to pick. Let's see. What do Frank and Ed choose? Which map? We've seen desert, we've seen heck, we've seen jungle.
Lake Island.
And we've even seen Lake Island. What do Ed And Frank choose Lake
Lake
Island
again.
for a second time. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. PM to Dan. Here comes Lake Island.
He called it.
Pure spite. Alright, so we are going to get a second game on Lake Island. Now, the first game on Lake Island, Frank and Ed did win. But after that game on Jungle, man, I'm worried for them.
Yeah, can they pull it off again? That's the question.
I am very worried for them.
And it was a close game as well on Lake Island, so.
It was extremely close. So we've got Frank and Ed, Gino and Dan. Let's see. Gino's on the left side here as a Soviet. And we've got his teammate Dan at the top. Right?
Okay.
So it's top left versus bottom right.
Correct. So it's not opposite like last game, so.
Yeah, we're going to see how it plays out differently.
We might see more teamwork because now they're closer to each other as well.
Yeah, perhaps. So we got Gino closer to Frank, and we've got Ed closer to Dan. It looks like they're doomed to be like this, that Frank faces Gino and Dan faces Ed. It has been that way most of the games.
Yeah. True.
Alright. We're going to see if Frank goes with an extra minor this time around, or do they go 0? What do you do? What do you do? Alright. War Factory from Gino in a very forward position. I like it.
Yeah.
Down the cliff, already expanding towards those gems. Gonna see if he's greedy enough to try and take map control and take control of those gems. Bit of drone play on the top right side of the map. Gonna see if anything comes out from that. Both of these top right players. So Ed again going with extra minor. Does get drone though. And Dan pushing in hard here with going 0. Gino going with 1 minor out of the War Factory. Frank so far 1 minor out of the War Factory. And yeah, so he goes with 1 minor as well.
But Ed gets a flak and a rhino droned from Dan. And the drone is still alive. No, not anymore.
Wait, where's this? Gino got droned, right?
No, Dan at the top.
Oh, Dan got droned.
Yeah.
Nice. So Frank moves his MCV next to the gems on the second position here, pushing Gino back, killing that one forward Rhino. And now Gino moving his MCV. Interesting. Gonna move it right here next to the third level. Gonna build down to the third level here. Should be interesting. So Gino looking like he's in a strong position. And
Ed is in Gino's base.
Yeah, Ed is in Gino's base. All of a sudden, we're going to see if his tank control can handle Dan, forcing Dan back and then turning around and going back to Gino's base. So we're going to see if he can make a move here happen. But no, Dan does come into position to defend. Ed takes the cliff. Very nice tank control out of Ed. Very, very nice tank control out of Ed there. So Ed putting the pressure on Gino here. Frank taking that engagement. Let's see if he can micro his tanks because there's a lot of fodder there. Goes behind the GIs but loses a lot of Grizzlies along the way. Trying to get a miner here. Not going to be able to get it, I don't think. Or maybe yes. And now Ed gets cleaned up by Dan. And Frank needs to back off. So all of a sudden Dan with a huge army. Ed's got 4 rhinos on the map. Dan's got 8 miners. So literally twice the amount of rhinos. Sorry. Let's see. So Frank's still putting the pressure on Gino, but Gino, you know, with that miner on the gems in the center, 5 miners, looking strong. Frank has already mined out all of those gems, and now Dan on Frank's MCV. Does he dive for it? No, he turns around to take care of Ed's army. Ed doesn't have enough to defend here, and Ed is about to lose all of his army, which will put him in a very bad position. Ed trying to, force Dan to back off all the way to his base. Frank pushing in here with a very nice power drop, but Gino does move the miner out of the way and saves it. Looks like Dan is going to win big time here. Big time on the top right. Dan has a huge force, and Ed doesn't have much to defend it. Frank looks like he can hold his own versus Gino, but Ed looks like he's about to die.
Taking out the conscripts. Go in now. Oh, I think.
Elzan CV. And Frank trying to make something happen here, but Gino looks locked down tight. I don't think that was a good idea. Frank going in here is going to lose. He did get a miner, though. He did get a miner, but he lost a lot of tanks for it.
Then
And
going in.
now Dan just going through Frank's base.
Gets
Just
2 miners.
taking a cruise. Ed chasing him, trying to get him with all the miner fodder. He is going to win, but how many miners did Frank lose from that?
This is going to be 3 miners.
Wow, so Frank loses 3 miners. He is down to 2 miners. 2 miners for Frank left. Not good at all for him. Almost lost his war factory. That would have been devastating, but it looks like Gino's going to get it either way.
He's going to get it.
Sells the war factory, has no choice, and now Ed pushing across to Gino's base, going to try and do the same. Dan rushing to try and defend this.
1 miner.
Gets the flag tracks, which is very important. The Rocketeers come in, targeting that war factory. Ed is going to have to back off here. Can he get a miner on his way out? That is the question. The Rocketeers doing some serious damage. The flag track does come out. Frank backs off with the Rocketeers, chasing away that flag track with the Grizzlies, but Gino comes back with his Rhinos. Frank can't do much here. He has to back off. Ed, in the meantime, losing a lot of Rhinos along the way. Ooh. And we know Ed sold his war factory. Both the other team's players did not sell the war factory. And Dan looks like he has a huge army heading across to Ed's base here. Not sure what he can do. Gino looks like he's winning Frank. Dan looks like he's winning Ed. It's not looking good for Team Frank and Ed.
Yep. And Gino is in Frank's base as we speak as well.
Yeah, he's in there. He's doing damage. Those Desolators, wow, beautiful. Gino just dangerous with those Desos. Ed's got nothing left but a barrack, spamming conscripts. And Gino just goes in. Frank completely zoned out by those Desolators. Everything goes down. Dan coming into Frank's right base here, and Frank quits.
And we're all tied up, boys.
Yeah, so we go to 3-3, and this was Frank's map choice. So that's got to be bad when you pick the map and you lose. And it's your favorite map in the game.
I know. And Gino and Dan were able to win twice on jungle. However, they did take this game, so Frank and Ed were not able to win twice on Lake Island.
Very true. Very, very true. So we move on to Coldest Peak, a classic map. Very, very interesting 2v2 map. Let's see what happens. Oh, Syndrome with 100 biddies.
Oh, he's putting his bits on Frank.
There we go.
So is this Team USA versus Team Australia, New Zealand?
Well, it actually is. It actually is. Frank and Ed are both from the USA, and Gino and Dan are from Australia and New Zealand. So yeah.
Yep.
Indeed.
Here we go, boys. Game number 7 on the way.
Yeah, Syndrome wants to see Frank succeed. We're gonna see if that happens. Gino looking so strong, man. Gino just looking so strong these past games.
Yeah, he really had to warm up, but he's there now.
Indeed. Ed on the left, Dan on the top, Gino on the bottom, and Frank on the right, which means it's
opposites again?
Yeah, opposite starting positions here. We've got Ed and Frank on the left and on the right. And we've got Dan on the top, Gino in the bottom. Gino asking, are you guys on voice? I assume he's talking to Frank and Ed
Ed.
and not to us.
Cheaters.
Cheaters, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, Lloyd, 6:30
So-
here, bro. How you doing, man?
Coldest Peak, Doofus.
Yeah.
What a map, especially when it's opposite positions. Any direction you try to move your MCV to expand, you're moving it towards your opponent.
enemy, that's true. Yep.
No matter what.
That's a good point, Snark. How are you going to expand?
Which
you have
is
to
why
take
this
your
is
army with you.
exactly. Which is why this is one of the best 2v2 maps, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's hard. It's pro. It's the highest level, man. It's the highest level 2v2 map you could ask for. Frank going 0 this
I believe
time.
everybody went 0 this time.
Yeah, it looks that way. Ed tried to chase off that drone, but Dan with a perfect micro on the drone doesn't get hit. So Gino and Frank here facing off again. Ed and Dan facing off again. But look. Dan is in Frank's face right over there. Gets his miner off the forward gems that Frank was taking. Frank trying to push in here, but Gino, threatening. You go there, I come here.
Yep.
So,
Ooh, one grizzly out of place.
yeah, one grizzly almost down for free. Ed destroying some ore to place a forward refinery. And terrible take control out of Dan. What was that? He threw away a rhino. On the bottom right, Gino pushing Frank here. Can Frank save that miner? Yes, he does. He chronos it away. So now...
Monster Steve in the building. How you doing, Monster?
Oh, nice. We've got Steve. Yeah, Steve, Woody versus Marco's gonna go down in half an hour. Which means we might not finish the series, Doofus.
Well, I hope so.
You hope we will?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it. These games have been taking so long. I was expecting faster games, if I'm being honest. Ed destroying Dan at the top here, going in here, pushing hard. Dan's fodder doesn't matter when you have tank control like Ed does. And Frank, keeping the pressure on Gino, making sure he stays there. Ed with the split. He's got 3 rhinos down in Gino's base while he's winning Dan up top. Now that is just crazy.
Yeah.
That is just crazy. So Ed pushing here at the bottom, forcing Gino to, not sure where he wants to go exactly. And Ed microing up top as well. Frank goes in. Looks like he's going to win this battle. And this looks like it's going to be a win for Ed. Gino has to sell his MCV. His war factory is about to go down. And it goes down.
Yep.
So Gino has no MCV, no war factory. Ed with that split really, forcing Gino to be everywhere at once and just losing him the game. And now Dan, I didn't even notice this, is in Frank's base. Did get the MCV, but Gino is out, calls GG. Ed is destroying Dan up top here, and Dan just quits. Wow.
This was total ownage by Frank and Ed.
Wow. Ed with that split, just dominating, doing an amazing job. And the score goes up to 4-3, which means it's match point for Frank and Ed, right? What did we say in the end? Best of 9?
Best of 9, yeah.
Best of 9.
Here comes the money.
So, yeah. Match point for Frank and Ed. One more, and they win the series. Oof.
Syndrome again with the bits, and now rooting for Ed.
Oh, Syndrome, you hypocrite. Who are you rooting for? Tell us the truth.
Well,
Who are you rooting for?
They're on one team, though.
Yeah.
We're
Half
going
is
back
here
on
in the
Heck.
chat. Steve seeing these awesome games and getting a boner to play. I like it, man. I like it. So, yeah. Yeah. 4-3 match point. Going back to Heck here. Now, the first time on Heck, Ed and Frank won. And after that performance on Coldest Peak, I would be scared. So here we go.
Potential match point for Frank and Ed. Will they take it, or will we have a deciding game 9? So we have Frank top left, we have Ed bottom left, so it is gonna be left versus right. Gino spawns top right, so he will be up against Frank again, I think.
Yeah,
It's
again.
been the entire series, it's been Gino versus Frank.
Yes, it was like one game, I think, Desert Island, where Frank was facing Dan on the left.
True.
But everything else, man, Gino versus Frank.
And then we have Dan on bottom right. And we have 3 Soviets. The only allied player is Frank. No surprises there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
And
see.
left versus right. Sometimes players risk it and make a minor here. Frank going for the quick AFC. I'm gonna see if so Frank rushing air, right?
Is he gonna go double ref, you think? Before going War Factory?
That's very risky, but he is going all in on the air. He has a Harrier, he has Rocketeers. I guess they're gonna be rushing bottom, so Dan needs to be scared. 2 flag tracks come out for Gino, so he's seen it, he knows what's happening. He's not blind to it.
Double ref for Frank.
Yeah, the Harrier does take out the drone, and Ed is gonna try and rush in here, but Dan is ready with the 2 rhinos here. And those 2 flags are staying in Gino's base, but there is a flag cannon out from Gino, and a flag track comes out from Dan. So Frank's air rush is starting to look like a failure here. He went double ref after the AFC, so still no War Factory. So if Gino decides to start making rhinos, he's going to be in trouble.
Triple ref from Frank.
Yep. So these flag tracks chasing Frank away, not much accomplished with that air rush, if I'm being honest.
And now the War Factory out for Frank.
Finally, the War Factory comes out after 3 refineries.
But
Gino on 4 miners.
You gotta have balls of steel to go 3 ore refineries before going War Factory.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if Gino had gone 0, Frank would have been in big trouble. He's lucky Gino decided to go miners. And yeah, so Gino with a few rhinos heading towards bottom left. I guess he wants to double Ed. He knows that Frank can't push him at this point. Frank chasing with his 3 Grizzlies, but there are rhinos on top as well. We're going to see exactly what Gino's plan is here. Ed trying to get something done at the bottom right here, but Dan looks locked up tight. Yeah, so Frank holding here with the power drop and the Grizzlies in the top left. And on the left here, Gino has a tank in Ed's base somehow. Snuck one in, but looks like Ed is going to chase him off. And Dan looks like he could definitely hold Ed. Ed splitting off his rhinos here. And Frank coming in with a power drop to support Ed's attack here at the bottom. Frank snipes the Desolator with the Harrier at the top. Oh, Ed going in. Splitting up Dan here, almost got the MCV, but now he needs to back off. Frank's power drop at the bottom is AFK. Frank puts up a prism at the top, so he will be able to hold that position pretty nicely. And he's not going to let Gino leave his base. But with that Desolator, I don't know, Frank is going to push in here. Gino leaves his base. Gino's completely out of position. Frank is in his base all over the place.
Gonna get a War Factory.
He sells the War Factory. Frank needs to get the hell out of there. He's going to die for the MCV. No, he does get out of there in the bottom. Ed is trying to pressure Dan here, but Dan looks like he seems to be holding his own. That was a little redundant. Looks like he seems. At the top here, and again, every time Gino tries to leave his base, Frank says,
Going
You leave your
in.
base, I come in. Harrier coming in here, targeting the flag track, and Frank is gonna go right through these desolators. And Gino's all the way at the bottom here, facing Ed. So now it's 2v1 at the bottom.
I got that
Ed,
MCV.
Ed is gonna go down, but Frank does take out the MCV, like you say, Doofus. What is going on here? Gets the War
Gets the War
Factory,
Factory.
and at the bottom. So now Gino goes all the way around and heads to Frank's base the long way around. Frank, you know, is his every single one of his grizzlies are starting to look very tired from all this desolation. And Dan keeping Ed down at the bottom, not letting him go help his ally.
Gino
Gino
going in
is,
through the back.
yeah, so Gino is in Frank's base, but he needs to back off now. Does he go and backstab Ed now? We're about to find out. He's
Frank
going
is
down.
chasing. Yep.
Yeah, so he's gonna backstab Ed here, and you know, this could be devastating. Ed does lose one miner, loses two miners.
Gonna get sandwiched. Yep.
Oh, okay. So Gino still running away with a few of them. Frank chasing, and now Dan splitting off a little splinter force up to Frank's base, while Frank is just chasing Gino around the map. So I don't think this split from Dan is good. Nice. So Gino gets the elite on the left side here. It's gonna be a problem for Frank to deal with a pain in the neck. And Dan's split comes back around to join up with his main army, but Ed looks like he has more than enough to defend this. The elite goes down on the left, so now Gino can't produce tanks anymore, and Frank with a huge army. It looks like Ed and Frank are gonna take this home. What a crazy series. Dan is pushing down the center here. Frank is going to intercept him, loses a lot of grizzlies there for free. Ed decides to not go help his ally, but he's gonna instead take out Dan. I think that's the right decision in this position. So Ed is going in here. Ed, not quite sure what he wants to do. Nice, he split off a few runners to take out the Desolator. Dan calls GG, and Frank actually holds at the top. Wow. So GG's.
GG's. Wow.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Frank and Ed versus Gino and Dan. Really, really, really nice games here.
Oh. Great
Really,
2v2.
really nice games. So the score is done with a 5-3. It was a best of 9. So that is the final score that we have here so far. Noob and Frank versus Noob and Noob. Steve, are you saying the only good player here is Frank?